Okay, you can all see me. Perfect. Okay, it's good. Right. How are we all? Where are we watching from? That's like the first thing I want to ask. And after that, actually, it's the first live stream I've done. You can hear me or you can't hear me? We've got one person saying you can't hear me and one saying we can hear me. Can. Okay, cool. Right. Yeah, this is the first live stream I've done, and I've been doing YouTube for quite a few years, and like this whole new interface is very different to how I've usually uploaded videos. So there you go, over the first technical thing, and we can get on with it. I'm gonna answer a bunch of questions today. I received questions through YouTube, through Instagram, and on my Facebook page, and then also any questions that come through this chat, and I'll answer. I'm gonna try and keep it focused on the YouTube side and on the business side and on like the making money passive income side. I know there's probably a bunch of questions about this current situation we're in and travel and all of that as well, which hopefully we can get to too. But I'm going to try and keep it focused on more of the business side of things and how we can make some money online right now during this whole situation, or how we can set things up for the future as well. There's also going to be a couple prizes at the end, one that I can give away live to some of you guys, and it will be at the end of this if you stick through to it. And one that I want to try and work with some of you in the future literally to work quite closely together. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to get involved in that. Again, it's not paying anything. You're not going to have to sign up for anything. It's just a way that we can work together. And I'll be completely honest about that. It is because I'm planning to build a sort of workshop in the future, and to make sure I want to answer all the questions completely on point. So I want to work with some of you to make sure that I'm answering the right questions. Because although I've done this for the last few years, I think sometimes you can lose touch with what it's like to start a YouTube channel right now. So I want to make sure I'm answering the things that maybe I forgot about at the beginning. So I want to work with you guys to do that. I got coffee. Yeah, cool. We've got some Janet from Ireland. Hi, Janet. And who else? Who is from where? Okay, from the UK, Manila, Philippines. Oh, cool. Seoul. So you're like 8 hours ahead. And yeah, I guess that's the one trouble about like having a worldwide audience, is trying to find a good time where everyone can watch, because some people might be trying to watch this in the US or wherever, and then it's like 4 a.m. there. But it's cool that we've found some sort of time that I can get a bunch of people on. So I'm going to kick off straight into the first questions that I got. And the first questions I put on that YouTube video, the announcement on my other channel, and I'll just start rattling through them. In the future, once I figure out the live stream a bit better, if we do this again, I'll do the screen share so you can see it. But for right now, I'm just going to read out the questions and we will get through it. So Theon asked, what film equipment would you recommend a starter to have specifically for travel videos like I do? And I think this is something that's changed over time, because when I first started out, I just had like a point and shoot camera for a couple $100. And that was, it was more than enough at the time, but the camera you have in your phone would be so much better than that camera is now. And those videos, you can still go back and watch them on my old channel. They went up 4 years ago and they're still watchable. And that was just from a point and shoot for $200. But if you film on most of your phones these days, that's more than enough to get a good watchable vlog. It's only really when you want to go much higher end, when you want to go investing in lenses and get like far away shots, when you want to go really cinematic, you'd have to invest a lot more in equipment. I think right now you could definitely begin just with the phone in your pocket, or even quite a cheap camera. I know a lot of you don't want to maybe vlog on your phone, so you could go and pick up a cheaper DSLR. I don't think you need to go, or even like a small the Sony RX100 5 or 6 or whatever it is right now. They are amazing, and you don't need any more than that. I guess the point I'm trying to get across is you don't need to invest massively in all this big film equipment. You really don't need to these days. It's more important to be filming what you enjoy doing and what's interesting and putting a story behind it than it is to have really expensive film equipment. Okay, happy to do this. Thanks for sharing. Should we ask questions like you mentioned? How long was it after you quit your job 5 years ago before you were able to support yourself on the money coming in through your new lifestyle? Well, first of all, the first year that I went away traveling to do this, I I originally went away with the intention to start making money online and start a YouTube channel, which is actually the one before my Life of George YouTube channel. But I never really had the discipline for it, and I didn't make any money for it. I was just went away traveling and ended up running down all the money that I had saved. So for the first year after I went away traveling, I didn't make money whatsoever. I did have a fallback plan of going to Australia on the working holiday visa, and I'd already paid for that before I went away traveling. And then when I eventually did run out of money, I moved to Perth and went for 6 months on the working holiday visa and built up savings there again, so I could then go away traveling with a sort of better frame of mind to go back into it with some more discipline. So I'd say it was probably then that was 6 months after the first year, so that's a year and a half. Then another 6 months. So after I went away initially to start doing this, I'd say it was 2 years. 2 years before I was really able to support myself, money coming in at all. And even then, it wasn't a lot of money coming in. My whole idea originally was to, if I could have $10 a day coming in, then I'd be able to live on the beach somewhere. And that's not a lot, but it depends on where you are. If I was on the beach in Goa and you got $300 coming in per month, then that's enough to continue making YouTube videos. Now I would say that you could do that a lot quicker. And it's only because I had to go through all of the trial and error and figuring it out and not knowing what I was doing. But I would say you can do that a lot quicker than I did. But for me, it was about 2 years before I started making any money online. Okay, I'm going to just keep scrolling through, try and find some more questions. The thing is, with cheap DSLRs, that mostly don't support 4K. Yeah, it's true. I've only recently switched to 4K in the last year. I don't think it's good for future proofing, but for creating content right now, that's not entirely necessary. I don't upload anything in 4K, but it is worth having for the future. So I wouldn't let that be a barrier, but it just depends how much you're willing to spend. You can get good cameras that also do 4K now for 400 or 500. I think the Sonys are great for it. And I mean, some phones do 4K. I don't think it's entirely essential. So I'm just reading questions. Do you have any good tips to start making and editing videos? Also, how can you make money by filming vlogs? So the tips I would have for starting to edit videos is YouTube University. Honestly, you can learn everything from YouTube right now. And anytime that I don't know how to do something within editing, by the way, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. That's all I've ever used for editing. I decided right at the beginning that rather than messing around with the free programs, I figured I'm gonna learn Adobe eventually. So I just started using it, because then once you get used to it, then it's a steep learning curve. But once you're using it, then you may as well just continue using and getting better at it. And anytime I've come up with a problem or something I don't know how to do within the editing suite, Premiere Pro, I would just search it on YouTube and I would find out whatever you need. There's so many great tutorials on there, and there's so many tips on there, and great people that can teach you how to do something within 5 minutes. And it's all learning. Each time you edit a video and you export it, you'll watch it back and you'll realize, I could have done that bit better, or I could have done this bit better. And then you just learn for next time. You just keep doing that. I mean, it's just a process. But I would say the best tip I have for starting that is literally just to start. Get your first 10 videos out, get your first video out, get your first 100 videos out, because each time you do one, it's going to get better every time. And how can I make money by filming vlogs? Well, that's the whole game. No, there's lots of ways of making money. Obviously, depending on lots of things, you can make various amounts of money from your AdSense. And I'm going to go into that more on this channel as well, how you can influence the money you're making from AdSense, depending on things like video titles, who's watching, all of that stuff. But there's actually a lot more ways you can make money than just YouTube AdSense as well. I've got into it before on my other channel, and I'll go into it more in this as well. Things like stock footage, licensing, affiliate marketing, other websites. Other websites that pay AdSense and other websites that will pay you for video content. And one thing I would say is just like one high level tip of this is that when I first started out, I deleted a lot of my footage. And for the first maybe 100 videos, I lost a lot of that footage because I wasn't hanging on to it for a long time. Never do that. That was one of my big mistakes. Never delete your footage. Keep all of it, because you don't know what value it will have in the future. For example, let's say you were in Nepal, in Kathmandu, before that big earthquake in 2014, 2015 that leveled half of Kathmandu. Horrible event, but I mean, I was there before that, and I had all the footage of the city before that, people was in demand after that because it will never be like that again. I deleted all the footage and lost it all, and that could have been good stock footage and licensing at a timestamp of that point. So just never delete your footage, because you will make money from it in the future. How do I back up my footage apart from external hard drives? I wish I did, to be honest. I've got a drawer here with like 8 hard drives in right now, and I think when I do have a more permanent base, I'll have one of those big desktop hard drives that everything is also backed up to. But right now, it's literally all just on those hard drives, and it's mainly because I've been on the road pretty much for the last 5 years. I've never stopped and just taken all of it into another storage solution, but that would be a smart thing to do. There's another question from the chat quickly. Travel can be expensive. Where are you now? Are you able to put money away for retirement in the future? This is something that I really started thinking about within the last 2 years. And it's something I started doing about 2 years ago, to be honest. As much as, and this is again something I want to touch on more on this channel. I think these priorities change over time. The things I think about now about saving for the future and trying to make my money work for me in the long term weren't necessarily the same thing I thought about when I started this whole idea, because it was more about any money I earned was just to keep me on the road. But now, as this has gone along, as I've turned it into more of a business, I've decided to try and put more of that money aside so it can generate a longer term financial future for me. And the ways I'm trying to do that initially is I'm doing a thing called dollar cost averaging into various stocks and ETFs each month. So a portion of the money I'm making, let's say take 100% of my income. I'm then taking 10% of that and putting it into investments each month to then build myself a portfolio, which will be an investment for the future. Because as much as I love traveling right now, it's not going to be maybe, I mean, who knows? But it's unlikely that it'll be what I want to do forever. So to have an investment there for the future is something I would like to do. And the way I've been doing that is by dollar cost averaging, paying a certain amount each month into stocks to then get the gains over the long term. I'm going to go into that more in the future. I think like maybe some of you will completely get that, and some of you like, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, that is what I've been doing. Just looking for more questions now. What are the best sites to upload video and photos to earn passively? I've mentioned this before in my other channel. The site that I use to upload videos for to earn passively is Blackbox, and that's purely for stock footage. And although I'd say one thing about this, because although it is a very good source of passive income, in that once you upload, you never do any work for it again. You upload and you get someone to do the metadata. You put all of your footage, all of your old clips onto this website so other people can license them from you and they can pay a fee in order to use it in their own projects. And that's it, your work's done, and you can make passive income from that for the next 5-10 years. In that way, it's great because it's passive, but it's never paid a ridiculous amount. It's not a ridiculous return. I think the most I've had per month on that is about $300, which is nice, and I'm not knocking it. It's great because that would be footage that would just be dead or like gathering dust in my hard drives, but you're not going to get rich from it. It is a great, I mean, it's something for nothing. It's footage you'll never use again that you can put up onto a website that will keep making you money for the future. I wouldn't say it's a business model, but that is where I just put up all my old videos to earn passively. Photos I haven't dabbled with. There's not a site like Blackbox right now for photos. There's the individual stock sites. Then you have to do all the metadata and keywording yourself. It's not something that interests me. But I do know people make passive income from their photos in the same way as well. Yeah, the Baffle Dad. Yeah, I mean, it depends on each month, but it's $200 to $300 per month. And yeah, funds, low cost too, ETFs. That is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. Obviously, there was a little bit of a hit this month for that, but I mean, it has steadily recovered, and that's the thing with dollar cost averaging as well. That if you continue putting in, then you'll get the best price over the long term, and eventually you will still be making good money on your money. I'm going to jump into. Does that make sense to anyone? Like, so far, is that making sense? If this is helpful, then let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more like this in the future, I know like I can't go massively into detail on each of these things right now, but it's giving me a good idea of what you'd like to see more videos about. So if there is anything that I talk about that you'd like to see a more in-depth video about, then let me know in the chat as well. Just going to my Instagram now to get some of the questions there. Oh, actually, there was one really good question on my Facebook page that I'm going to go to. I'm going to read it to you first, although it's like quite a long paragraph, but I'm going to read it and then you'll see. Okay, so Stephen Skilling, sorry. I've followed you since the beginning when I was in the UK before I visited another country, in China, and I've been all over the world and also have my own YouTube travel channel, which is awesome, by the way. Congratulations. Purely down to you inspiring to do so. Thank you very much. Now, after a year, I've finally reached 1,000 plus subs, and I'm finally starting to see some decent views on my videos. So the question is, when you first start, what are the ways to promote your videos? All I've been doing so far is uploading to YouTube and hoping it gets views, as well as sharing the links to my Facebook and Instagram. Is it just a waiting game? Keep posting until you get that one video that hits. There's a second part to this question, but I'm going to start with that. It's tough. Honestly, it's tough. Like, I think there's something that happens when you create a video and you spend all this time filming it, and then you spend all that time editing it and then uploading it and getting all the metadata and getting like the title and description. And by the way, that's the part I hate the most, coming up with the title and the description and the thumbnail, because like all that time and effort you put into it and then a few words changes whether or not someone will click on it. It's very frustrating. But anyway, besides the point, you've done all of that work to get to that point, and then you put it up, and then you just want to forget about it and move on. The trouble with that is that that's not really where the work should end. And I'm guilty of it so much as well. Once I put up a video and I feel like, okay, I've done all the hard work, now I just wait and see. But really once you've got that finished product, once you've got something to be proud of, that's where you should be pushing it as many places as you possibly can. And Instagram and Facebook's a good start. And I would definitely say like get the links out there. But there's also other inventive ways that you could think of how can you get this video to go even further. And I'll just go into a couple that I tried, a couple that I continue to try these days, is underneath any YouTube video. So I think where you're watching this now, there'll be a share tab. And this isn't a way for me to say go and share it to all of this, but there's a share tab there. And then once you go into it, you can see it's got Facebook, Twitter, Blogger, Reddit, Tumblr, Pinterest, VK, so Russian site, LinkedIn, Mix, and then another Russian site that I don't know what that is. But you can try and hit as many of these as possible, and these have changed over time. In the past, I would make sure that each video got onto every single one using the hashtags that I was trying to target on each of them. Nowadays, some of them aren't really as effective. Reddit, for example, can be really, really good. If you can get the right subreddit for your video and you can seem as if you're not self-promoting, because Reddit looks down on self-promoting, then you can get a lot of people that are interested in your niche coming to that video through Reddit. Tumblr is the same. If you get it on Tumblr and you target the right hashtags, then maybe you can get traffic through there. Pinterest is another way that people can find videos and find blog posts, and it's basically a search engine for finding content. So although maybe you've always overlooked these, there's actually avenues here that you can get more people coming back to your video. Another thing I'd say, just another high-level way of sharing your content even further, is it's kind of, I'll just say it anyway. If you have a really good idea or a really good video that you think might be newsworthy, what you can do is you can go onto Fiverr or other sites like that, 5squid or whatever. I'm not going to say go and use like the hacky promotional gigs they have on there, which is like, I'll get you 3,000 extra views on your YouTube channel, because I think most of them are just rubbish and they're not real views, and they'll end up getting your channel banned. But what you can do instead is you can get someone to write a press release for you. And this will cost anything between like £5, £10, £30 for a good one. And this person will write a press release around what your video is about and release that to 100 different news sites and different social media sites that might be interested in what you're doing, because they're looking for news and they're looking for they're looking for good stories to share. So if you created a good YouTube video, if you created a good story that someone will be interested in sharing, you get them to do the work for you. And I mean, it's just an idea. It's something I've tried a couple of times. And for things like the North Korea series I did that was particularly interesting, then you can do that. You can do that on Fiverr. There's good gigs on Fiverr. There's good gigs on 5squid. Just put in the chat now. And some of them are really good. Some of them, like, I mean, it depends. You know, some of these companies don't care. And there's other websites where you can just upload your press release to, which some news companies and magazines will go and be searching for news. But it's just another way you can try it. The main thing I would say is that if you're going to be creating a video, try and share it as many ways as possible. Because when I started, I would try and, my whole idea was to get 100 connections a day. And this came from a blog post I read from someone else years ago. But it's like, if you could get 100 connections a day, and let's just pretend that's subscribers, because obviously not 100 people you connect with are then going to subscribe. But let's say you could get 100 connections a day. That's 3,000 extra people per month, or 3,000 extra subscribers per month. So I was trying to think of it, or go from the point of view where, okay, I've made this video. How can I get this out to 100 people? How can I get 100 people to see this? And then consistently do that. That was my idea, and that's how I started. What was the second part of this question? If you were to go back to the start with the knowledge you have of YouTube now, what would you do differently building a channel-wise? I would actually, right now, I wouldn't say I would do this differently at the time, because YouTube worked differently then. Right now, I would say to go for quality over quantity. And at the time, 5 years ago, daily vlogging was completely the way to go. Everyone got very big very quickly that was doing daily vlogging and just getting a consistent amount of content out, because the subscriptions work differently within YouTube. The subscribe page is kind of hidden and you have to go into it, whereas in the older days of YouTube, all your subscriptions were there on the homepage, and you go and click straight into it. So a daily video is getting watched every single day. Now YouTube works more on the basis of what will be recommended. So to actually see the people you subscribe to, you have to go into it, and then even then sometimes it doesn't pop up. So it's a lot harder to get a big portion of your subscribers to see your video. So instead, and there's also a lot more noise out there. There's also a lot more people creating videos, and each niche is a lot more saturated, in my opinion. So I think to really stand out, you have to go for quantity over quality. And maybe that means making one video a week. Maybe it means making one video a month. Maybe it means making 5 videos a week if you can deliver on them and make each one better than the last. But I'd say there's no point in putting something out that you're not completely proud of. I would say the most important thing is to make it something you really are proud of and you're happy to put out there, because then you'll also be willing to promote it and put it out. So that's what I would do differently now if I was starting. But as I said, I don't think I would have done that back then, just because the rules slightly changed. How exactly does sponsorships and branding, etc., work with YouTubers? Is there an agency? Can you give me a scenario of how it's happened to you? It depends. Most of the time, it's incoming. So most of the time for myself, I've got a email in all my YouTube videos on the Life of George channel. And most of the time, if someone wants to get a sponsored section of that video or bring me on a trip or whatever, they'll just send an email to that email address. And then over time, I've figured out the pricing that I would use. I send them back a rate card, which is like a list of all the different prices that they could pay for different services, whether or not that's putting out Instagram posts as well as YouTube, as well as, as well as whatever. Then they can choose what they want. I would say this is a whole other topic I can get into, but that's not always the right approach either. It kind of depends on what the company is asking for, what you're going to be doing for them, how the email is structured. I wouldn't say it's always the right move just to send back a rate card, because sometimes it works better to have a discussion and come up with the right sort of price for what they're looking for. But I would say mostly that's how YouTubers get approached. Lots of people also have agents and managers and networks. And I did have a manager for about 1.5 years. So instead, the emails would go to him, and then he negotiated the rate, and then I only get it at the end of it, which was quite a nice relationship to have. We differed on, so I ended up going back to be working and doing deals myself instead. But there's lots of different ways you can do that. There are different agencies. There are different networks. I wouldn't recommend to join any of the multi-channel networks myself. I'd say that, okay, there's 2 different types of networks. There's the multi-channel networks on YouTube, where you join and then they get a portion of your ad revenue for giving you things such as like royalty-free music, thumbnail, metadata support, all of the back-end stuff, and putting you in touch with brand opportunities. I'm doing that because that's how they like reach out to everyone. But I find a lot of them quite scammy and hacky, and instead they're just trying to get a lot of people into their network to make more of their ad revenue. And it's only really the top, it's only really the top performers that they then get the brand deals for. And then there's the other type of agency or manager where they are just working with you for brand deals and for sponsorships, and working together with you like a traditional manager or agent would within football or within acting or media or anything like that. The second one would definitely be my preferred option for anyone that's interested. I don't really believe in the multi-channel network things. There are agency sites. I think you can search. So someone said, where would you find an agent? You can search in Google, and you can see. I think typically most of them are invite only, but you can always have a look and find out. Do you share those sponsor rates you use? I'm not going to share it right here, but yeah, I think it is something you figure out over time. I don't know, but it depends. The reason I'm not going to share it, it depends on each project. And I couldn't say a flat rate for this, a flat rate for that. And also some companies may not be comfortable with that either. And it's more of a discussion, conversation to have with those companies. But yeah, it's just maybe message me after and I can chat to you about it. But it's not something I'll put on the live stream right now because I don't know. It does depend on each situation. I'm going to find another question. How do you build a YouTube channel from scratch with so many channels out there? It's a good question. And I think a lot of people now, when you see YouTube, it does feel so saturated, and it feels like there's so many people doing it and so many people starting channels that, I mean, how can you start and how can you start one from scratch right now? I would personally say that it's still a great time to start a YouTube channel. And I think like in the last year, especially, YouTube's just got even more interest and even become even more established as a platform. And I think like 100% there's still scope to make a YouTube channel. What I would say is the more you can go, the better. There's ways, I mean, YouTube and the internet in general has become a way to connect with people that are interested in absolutely anything. If your interest was, can't think of a good example now. I don't know. Only eating brown M&Ms. You're going to find a million people around the world that are only interested in eating brown M&Ms. You could do a whole YouTube channel based on whether or not a brown M&M is better than a yellow M&M. And this isn't sponsored by M&Ms, but you could literally do that. And YouTube and the internet is a way for you to connect with all those people around the world. So I think the more niche you go these days, the quicker you will grow, in my opinion. If you go really broad, and if you went for just a really broad, generic travel channel, this is my top things, 5 things to do in Bali, you'll get lost in the noise. But the more you can go, just sort of startup idea, do it. Yeah, but the more you can go into something and the more you can become an expert or a voice in your own field, then the more likely it is that you'll have success, especially with a brown M&M idea. Do not take that. That's my next channel after this. With 85 years worth of videos being uploaded every day on YouTube, how do you think of a video idea that is not already saturated? It's a good question, but I mean, if you come up with a great video idea and you come up with something that you really want to do and you come up with something that resonates with you and that you're passionate about, and then you search it and it's already got 1 million views, I wouldn't say that's a reason not to do it. I'm not contradicting myself, but all I'm saying is if like, just because that video has already got a lot of interest, it's not a reason you shouldn't do it. If it's got a lot of interest, a lot of people are interested in that topic. And maybe you can create a video that either resonates with that audience, with that niche audience that are interested in that, or maybe you can do a video that's even better than that video that's there already. And if it's something that you care about and it's something that you actually want to create and you come up with this great idea, then maybe you will do it better than that person. And maybe because there's so many people searching that topic and searching that video, then it's a good move to make. I think over the long term, if you just do very generic videos about nothing, then that's not going to create you an engaged audience. But if you can come up with video topic ideas that you care about, even if it's got a lot of views, then it's still a good choice to make. My channel is 1 month old. It's a steep learning curve. I'm loving it so far. A lot of people seem to get disillusioned quickly. Hard work and consistency seems key. Absolutely, Nathan. That is genuinely it. There's so many internet gurus out there that like you just need to do this and then everything will be solved. All you got to do is buy my course and then all your problems will be done. It's hard work and consistency, and that's it. Just doing that over the long term, eventually you will 100% get the returns you want. When, like they say, uh, winners never quit, quitters never win. Took me a second to get that, but yeah, if you just continue doing it, then eventually you'll be successful in it. That's the simple truth that you can't really sell a course on the back of. I'm starting a YouTube channel to augment a new project I've started, which is on hold until we travel again. Yeah, of course, tell me about it. But thinking about the strategy now, what should I brand as the company or as me? It's a good question. Um, I see more and more people these days just going with their name and creating themselves as the personal brand, and I think that is smart because I mean it's something I chose to do as well, rather than originally coming up with like the budget traveler or something. The budget, I don't know, living on a budget, then I would always have to stick to that name and stick to that niche. So instead, or even if it was just travel, if it was like the travel YouTube channel, I decided instead to go with the life of Jord, making myself the personal brand, because then if I wanted to pivot into whatever else, then I could. It would still be my life and it would still be me that is making the videos. Obviously, I have still gone into the travel niche on that, but I wasn't pinholed by my name into only ever doing budget videos. So, I mean, if you do want to use your own name, then that would make sense for the longer term. But I would also say it just depends on what the brand name would be. Don't get yourself stuck in a certain thing that you don't want to be doing for the long term just on the back of what you branded yourself initially. Top tips for learning to speak on camera and growing in confidence. Honestly, boring answer, but practice, trial and error, just over and over, just keep doing it. And don't be put off when you're watching yourself back and editing, you're like, oh, I could have done this better or whatever. Because each time you do watch yourself back and edit, that's a learning opportunity. Especially, I think like anyone that's filmed this, anyone that's filmed themselves has noticed this. Every time I used to pick up the camera, I'd be like, and so we're here right now. So this is that. So, and then I had to go like when I was editing and cut out all of those so's, or because otherwise the whole video would just be like, so we're here now. But then I learned from that. So instead, I had to figure out different ways to begin my sentences that weren't always so and then, and it's quite. I'd say even just besides it being good for being on camera and being on good on YouTube, it's also a way of learning how to articulate yourself better, because you can watch yourself back and see the little, is it idiosyncrasies? Is that the right word? See the little things you do that maybe you can improve on. And again, the key is just to keep going with it and keep trying. I think in terms of just talking to camera initially, just try. I know it's scary. I know it's like it feels weird to do it, especially out in public. But just try and like do it for 5 minutes straight, or like 5 minutes of talking to the camera, and then maybe you don't even edit that one when it's your first go. Just get rid of it and do it again. But just begin and just keep doing it, because you'll get better over time. They say some people are natural at it. I mean, yeah, sure, some people are, but I've met very few that are. Actually, most people get better at it by practicing. I'm talking a lot. I'm just taking some water. While traveling, can you explain your editing strategy? Do you designate time every couple of days to edit, upload, or etc.? Yeah, it depends how hectic my travel schedule is. There were points last year where I was back to back to back on trips, and I didn't, I couldn't really edit during them because I was on a week's itinerary, then I was on another week's itinerary, and I didn't really have the time in between. So I ended up just like editing in the evenings, trying to keep up. I don't like doing it that way around. I would rather go on a trip for a week, really enjoy it, and then have like a week off or 3 or 4 days off to go and edit and then really make the best out of those videos. Because I feel like when you're trying to edit to keep up and when you're creating videos while you're still we've got other videos in the edit bay, I'm not as inspired to film those videos. What I would rather do is film a chunk, edit all of them, get them out of the way, and then go and film. So that'll be my ideal strategy. I know you can't do it all of the time depending on your travel schedule, but what I would prefer to do is film a trip, edit all of them, and then go on the next trip. And that would be the way I would say you can get the most out of your videos, because it is hard sometimes to have the motivation to film a load more when you've still got a big pile of videos backing up. And if you saw on my main channel, that's why I didn't end up sharing those videos from the Balkans like 3 years ago, because I wanted to catch up and didn't like having a big backlog of videos. But I would say if you do end up with a big backlog, just try and get them out of the way as soon as possible to catch up to your present day of filming. Because if you leave something for a long time, if you leave it without editing it and it's just sat there in your computer files on your hard drive, it becomes what they call dead footage, because you don't have the emotional connection to what you filmed anymore. And even it might have been something you thought was great at the time, but now because it's been sat there and you've filmed other things in between, it's emotionally dead to you, and you don't have the same drive to go edit it and make it great. So like, try and edit them as soon as possible, or keep like an invested interest in that project. This is at least my own personal opinion. I know some other people do it differently, but yeah, I would say for me, I like to edit as soon as possible, and that's how you get the best videos up. When you go on a sponsored trip, what sort of deadlines do the companies put on you to share your content? It depends. It really depends. It's usually, I would say, like a month afterwards. Most trips I've done have been, they expect a video or the videos within 30 days of the trip finishing, which seems reasonable to me, and normally it would be sooner than that. Some it's a lot quicker than that. It just depends on the nature of the trip, because if it's something that, like, I don't know, let's say I was going to film a festival, then that's still ongoing, like just for example, Oktoberfest, then, and I went there in the first week of Oktoberfest, they would want the video to be out while it's still going on to encourage more people to go. But for the most part, it's within 30 days afterwards. Other than YouTube, stock footage and the income from that, what other sources of income do you make money online from, and what would you recommend? For me, it's all been video for the past couple of years. And besides just YouTube and stock footage, that's also all of the affiliates that I have within each of my YouTube descriptions, whether or not like you class that as YouTube, it's not directly from the AdSense. So all of the affiliate links within there will give varying amounts, and that's just, most of them are free services that they will pay depending on if someone signs up. Besides that, I also have other video sites that I upload my videos to besides YouTube that also pay in AdSense, and I will do another video on that soon. I touched on them before in the video on my Life of George channel, but I'm going to go into more depth how you can get on them. Licensing clips besides stock footage is another good source of passive income. And the other things that I know, I'm going to be completely honest, like the other things that I know I should be doing, I haven't been doing. One of them is creating an info product to sell in the background, and a lot of people do this through their LUTs, through their presets on Instagram, through creating a course or creating some sort of info product basically in the background that you can direct people towards if they want to have a additional benefit of following you. And it really depends. Like, I don't believe myself in just pushing out something for the sake of it. I would rather have a really quality product there that is worth people buying. And if you go from that point of view, then it's 100% something that I would recommend, because that's something you've created and you're giving additional value to people. And that is, I know, for example, Christian LeBlanc just did that with his course, had amazing success with it, the Lost Creator Academy. And I know he put a loads of time and work into that. And although I haven't tried the course too, it's had amazing feedback. So I'm sure we put loads of time and effort into it, and that's completely fair enough. There are other people that create info products and courses that haven't literally thought about it whatsoever and just whacked it out there to get money off the audience, and that I kind of disagree with. But those are ways that you can do it additionally. There's so many others as well, but for me, it's just been the video side of it. And again, I'm going to go into the others more on this channel. But as I started this, I'm starting to get a cough, but hopefully it's not that cough. What are the best affiliates to sign up to, do you think? For YouTube, well, I don't know if you guys know this, but for anyone that does do YouTube, Amazon used to be a good one. They changed a bunch of their policies like a couple years ago. They changed their policies again a couple weeks ago, and they basically cut a lot of the affiliate fees that people were getting through Amazon affiliates. So I'm not sure any of them one of the best ones for me, but I know a lot of people do advocate. For me, it's been the music royalty-free sites like Epidemic Sound, MusicBed, and sorry, I just got distracted. Epidemic Sound, MusicBed, and a new one, Licked, which does seem pretty cool. So they're in my old descriptions. Airbnb, although that doesn't pay directly in money into your bank account, it has enabled me to stay for free in places all around the world because you get referral credit for someone signing up and booking with Airbnb. And what else was in there? Adobe Premiere Pro, they have a good affiliate scheme on there where you can actually, depending on if someone signs up and goes for the monthly fee, you can get even up to 75% of someone's sign up, which is kind of mental. I think there are other ones in there. It's just off the top of my head. What kind of tools do you use to plan your videos or write scripts? I actually don't. I mean, maybe I should. Maybe I should write scripts for videos, but usually it's just me ad-libbing and talking like this. Maybe I have a couple of notes. Like for this, for example, I had a note which was like, "Hail, where are you from? Questions from Instagram." But I don't have like a plan, and that's normally how I film it. It does leave the time for editing longer, but I don't actually have a script or planning. I know it does help some people, and definitely like if it helps you, then go for it. But I genuinely don't usually write out a script. And this is where I've just seen that I had a note on this little note thing. What do you want, like, with this in mind and what I've said so far, what would you want to see more of on this channel specifically? Like I mentioned some things quite like briefly, and I can go into more depth on a lot of them, on all of them really. So let me know in the chat, what would you want to see more of? And if there's like a general recurring theme, then obviously I'll do a video on that. And also, would you want to see more live chats like this? Not just with myself on here, but also with other people. If I can get other people in here that are making money through different ways besides just YouTube, would you be interested in us doing this as like a weekly thing or every 2 weeks, where I can get a certain person on here and we can just have a Zoom chat. You guys can ask questions and we can chat about the different ways, because besides just YouTube, and like YouTube and social media is one way, but there's so many other ways that you can build a passive income and make money online right now more than ever. And so if you'll be interested in me chatting to other people around it, then maybe that's something you can do as well. Right. It's actually quite nice. I'm enjoying this. Like, it's the first time I've tried doing this like this, but yeah, I'm enjoying chatting. Do you think it's possible? This is a good question. Do you think it's possible to earn passive income without any investments? Um, yeah, yeah, I do. I think uh, I'll break it down into two parts. Firstly, with social media, and then with any other ways. But I think social media is getting slightly more difficult to do it completely organically. The reach you could get before organically without paying to play, it was a lot higher than nowadays what you can get if you pay to be on there. And it's something I actually haven't done. I've never paid to like do YouTube ads or any of that. But I know a lot of people that are joining the game now are investing big into YouTube ads and Facebook ads to push out their social medias. And it does make it more difficult to do it organically, but it doesn't make it impossible whatsoever. You still can 100% grow a social media without any passive investment. And I think that's also, sorry, without any investment. I think that's also maybe a better way because you're going to get a, a really engaged person that's found you purely because of you, not just because you pumped a load of money into it. And yeah, I don't know. But you can definitely do it without paying to play. But the way social medias are going, um, yeah, they are expecting people to pay more. One way around that, which actually like I dabbled with, I haven't jumped into it massively, is TikTok. You are getting massive organic reach on TikTok right now. If you were going to join any social media platform, like people can go on there and get 100,000 views, 200,000 views out of nothing, literally out of like an awful video. So you get massive organic reach on that without paying. In terms of getting, and the reason I tie that to passive income is because if you then have a large social media, you can then obviously use that for passive income. There are other ways of building passive income besides your social media, of course. A lot of them do require a marginal investment. I don't think it needs to be thousands. But, you know, if you're going to set up a website, then you need to pay for hosting a domain, less than $50. But there are things like that that you need to invest in. And I think essentially, if you're planning to make a business out of something, and if you're planning to make money from something, then you should invest a bit anyway. Like put money into it, and it'll make money for you. There are with no investment, but you know, little investment in what you're trying to do for long term isn't a bad thing. Does having 50K followers on your Instagram have any financial benefit, or is Instagram just a smokescreen or a tool to direct traffic to your YouTube? I'm not sure what you mean by smokescreen, but I've never made a large deal of money out of my Instagram. I know some people do, and like some people I know have their whole business as Instagram, and they have less than 100,000 followers or less than 50,000 followers. It depends on your engagement and on your niche on Instagram. But for me, it's never really been a way of making a lot of money. I get the occasional post where someone will be messaging me saying, can you promote this product? And they'll pay a certain amount of fee, like a couple hundred quid, 300 quid, to put up an Instagram story. And that will also be included on my rate card. But it's never really been a main drive for me. It's just that people go and find my Instagram after seeing my YouTube. I've never made a lot of money from it, but I know a lot of people do. And yeah, for me, it was initially also a tool to direct traffic to my YouTube. I've always just had the link in my bio as the link back to my YouTube channel. And following on from what I was saying earlier about trying to get like 100 connections or whatever a day, that was another way to try and get that up, to get people to go and click into it. I would be posting Instagram posts with loads of relevant hashtags. And back in the day, doing the whole Instagram thing, which shout out if you remember that. But it was basically the like and follow thing. There's a platform called Instagram, which is, you know, grey hat maybe slightly frowned upon, where you would like and follow other people's posts and they would come back to your Instagram page. Not really acceptable anymore, really, but these things change. And 4 or 5 years ago, that was a fine thing to do. So I'd be getting people to come back to my Instagram and then come back to my YouTube. But yeah, for me personally, I've never made a lot of money out of my Instagram. Not yeah. I think seeing a personal journey financially, like how much money you make each month and where the journey comes from, what's working, what's not. Yeah, that's something I'm completely happy to share, actually. Maybe not every month, because I think that would get quite monotonous or quite like boring fast. But maybe I could do that every few months and have like also a breakdown of what I'm investing into as well for the long term, and try and show you all of that, because I want to be completely transparent about it. So yeah, I can definitely do that. I know like Cara and Nate did the income reports before. I just don't like Excel and spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff, so I won't. I think that seems, I don't know, a stupid thing to say, but I'm not going to like put out like a document report like that. But let's do it as a video where I show some of you guys that, or maybe in the live. That's fine. Right, I can do that. All right, we're almost coming up an hour mark. I'm going to do this little first prize first, but in a second anyway. Let me do another couple questions. Just reading through them now. What skills do you need to learn to be successful and start a passive income thanks to? Okay. The most important skill I can think of to become successful with any of this is it a skill? I'm not sure, but it's just your resilience and your ability to keep going. I know that's a bit of a cliche thing to say, but it's true. And I think like any real expert, any real like, I'm not going to, people that are top of their game will always say the same thing. The most important thing to becoming really successful in anything is the mindset. It's the ability to keep going no matter what, and keep learning and keep improving and keep building. Because let's say, however you old right now, I'm 29. I'm going to be working for the next 40 years. And however you old you are, you're going to be working continually until maybe you're 70 or 80. So if you can continually get better and keep improving and not quitting within that time, then you're always going to improve and you're always going to get better. And if your focus is money, then you're always going to be making more money in the long run if you keep going. If your focus is growing your social media, whatever social media still exists in 50 years' time, then it will always go up. If you continually invest in yourself, and if you continually have the mindset to keep improving, this is the long game. You've got 30, 40 years to keep going, keep improving. It's not an overnight thing. And again, there's all those gurus that are like, just buy this, and then tomorrow you'll be a millionaire. It's all rubbish. It will be the most important thing, the most important skill you have is just putting time and energy into yourself. I actually covered that one earlier. Harry, how do you click with brands? Most of them is incoming. I haven't done a lot of pitching myself. I know some people do pitch, and there's certain ways you should do that. But for me, it's normally incoming because I try and work with brands less and less, and I've tried to build more of a background or passive recurring income, whatever, to give myself the freedom to make the videos I want to make rather than relying on brand deals. So I'm not actively seeking any brand deals. It's only if they get in contact with me. And again, I just read Jay's. That's the same thing. But yeah, I don't reach out to brands personally. How often do you run into scams and shady business? Yes, I love this question. I got reached out to a few weeks ago by this scam that almost got me, and genuinely, like, I almost fell for it, and I actually filmed all of it, and I think I will put the video out eventually on this channel. But it was a really shady email, and for some reason I didn't quite twig onto it. And I replied, and I gave them my rate card, and I went through all the motions and whatever. And then they agreed, like quite professionally in the end, they agreed to the fee for this video, which was going to be $3,000. And they sent me the website, which was a carbon copy, like literally exactly the same as the Luminar photo editing website. And all looked exactly the same. They copied all of it over, perfectly professional website. I went to go click on the link, and I saw on the bottom left of my screen that the link was taking me to a bit.ly link or a tiny link or something. I was like, well, that's weird. So then I copy pasted the domain name and searched it in a domain age website, which is a good way of checking if a website is a scam. You can go and search when the domain was registered. So I searched this website, and it had only been registered the day before. So basically, they were just trying to get me to click on this link after going through all the process and everything else, getting me to agree to a brand deal so I could download that program, and then maybe it would have been a phishing software, maybe it would have been a keylogger, maybe it would have been them taking over and holding my laptop to ransom, who knows. But that was someone that actually reached out to me, and I've had a bunch of those emails since, like 4 or 5 of them, that seem quite professional, and you get right through to the end of it, and it's a clear scam. Yeah, it's interesting. It's the first time I've seen that, but it just happened to me a couple of weeks ago. There's also a bunch of other people that, like, shady VPN companies. Not all of them are, some of them are legit, but other shady ones that, like, I'm just not really interested in, because I think if you're building a YouTube channel and you're gonna build an audience, you've got to be careful about what you endorse and the companies you want to work with, because I don't want to promote something to someone that's then going to go and scam them. I don't want it to be something that I don't believe in personally. So to go and promote these weird companies, even if they're offering a silly amount of money, it's not worth it in the long term. It might be good for you in the short term, but in the long term, you're going to lose out on those people that have trusted you, and you betrayed their trust. And it's just not worth it. How often do you see yourself procrastinating, and how do you keep yourself in check? Yeah, I do, honestly. I can be quite bad for procrastination side of it. And yeah, like I say that, I think that's me being harsh on myself. Like I think anyone procrastinates at some point, like it's hard to be motivated all the time and do things, and sometimes you can just be sat there staring at your laptop, staring at the screen, and you can't really just get on with it even when you really want to, because you need to go and take yourself away from it and go do something else. And this is for me where I've tried to have as much of a balance as possible. And like it shouldn't be all about the work side of it, and it shouldn't be all about the travel side of it either. There should be a bit of a balance there. So for me, I think when I am starting to feel like I can't do any more work today, I can't do any more editing, I just get outside and go and do something else instead. I go for a bike ride or go for a run, or if I was still able to, go and do something cool in the place I'm in, go on a scooter ride, go to the beach or whatever, and just break it up that way. Because I think the best work you do and the best times you can be creative is when you really want to be, when you've got that drive and that motivation to do it. That's when you should be doing it. And then when it dries up, obviously sometimes you have to keep working anyway, but when it really dries up, just go and do something else, because that's the beauty of passive income, and that's the beauty of working for yourself, that you can choose to just go off and do something else, and maybe not put it off forever, but just come back to it later when you're feeling a bit more motivated. Ran a fitness studio in Dublin and pursued some brand deals from clothing companies. So then be careful when you look for it. Like I don't think most contracts aren't there to screw you. They're generally there just to cover both parties. But I mean, I would just have a careful read through it, and then you'll start to get a feel of what's right and what's not. One of the main things I would look out for in contracts for doing video and photo stuff is who owns the content at the end of it. Because if I'm filming, let's say for a company, I don't want to give them a worldwide exclusive license to everything I've filmed. I still want to own all the footage at the end so that I can use it for stock footage and licensing and all of that side of it. I don't want them to own it. So make sure that's within there. And if they do want to own the footage and own the videos and photos you filmed, that'll be for a much higher fee, because then you're also selling the copyright to whatever you film. So if I was going to sell the copyright to something, they should pay for that. And I think some companies do try and get away with certain things in their contracts, especially to people they think are starting out, because they can. And I would just be careful and just like read through them and make sure you're not giving away anything more than you've agreed to. Personally, I would say put in the contract the minimum of what you are going to deliver and then over deliver. Don't have a bunch of things in the contract that you're not like, that you weren't thinking about delivering, and then you have to try and like keep up with it, or maybe you end up under delivering, because that would not be good. Agree to a certain amount and then over deliver for the company. And actually, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm going to come back in like 2 seconds. Oh, that was the coffee going through me. So that's good for that. Right. Where were we? Which financial companies do you use to manage your income or use money abroad? Do you mean like transferring payments or savings? Because like between, I mean, for transferring between people I know and for taking money out, I always use Revolut. Honestly, it's like if for anyone that doesn't have Revolut, I would 100% recommend it. It's really easy to use. It's free to take money out abroad. There's also other cards like that, like Monzo is one, and I manage it through that. So I'll just take money out that way. And you can receive money from anyone from anywhere completely for free without a transaction fee. So yeah, I mean that's what I use for that. In terms of receiving payments from companies, you can. Revolut also lets you have bank accounts in different currencies. So you can have a virtual bank account in USD, in Euro, in GBP, or any other currency, and then you can receive payments into that to avoid losing out on the transaction fee. And I know it's not huge, but you know, if you're getting something, you don't want to keep losing out on the £20 bank charge. So I'd rather receive it into a account that doesn't take all those fees. I mean, even with PayPal, like a lot of companies do like paying with PayPal, but then they do take a chunk of payment as well. So it's better just to have. Oh, hey Jake, Cosmic J. Biggest source of income has gone up and down, but recently, for the last year, my AdSense on YouTube was good. I've got a video going out on tomorrow, on Sunday, about the ad revenue that's come through from the North Korea videos, and that has given me a consistently good ad revenue for YouTube. But still, more than that, it was the brand deals and sponsorships I did last year that was slightly higher. So for last year, I'd say it was sponsorships, YouTube, and then a collection of the other things I do together. But right now, it kind of does go up and down. because right now my AdSense on YouTube is really low. And I don't know if anyone else that's on YouTube has noticed this right now. I'm not sure if it is because of the whole situation we're in, but it's all like dramatically dropped. So the other stuff I'm doing instead is now much higher. So it does depend on each month. And that's why one of my big pieces of advice to people would be to diversify, like have different streams of income and don't necessarily rely on one thing. So what could be great for you one month might not be great for you in the long term. And I mean, like even let's say a couple of years ago, for example, I mentioned this before, I made like $10,000 one month on cryptocurrency, right? I was uploading videos to this video platform that was based in crypto. It was called YouTube, and Steam it, and I'd upload a video on there. And one video I uploaded at the time made like $400. So it's just crazy. Put up a couple of videos a week of me just talking to the camera like this, and you get like $1,000. And so I thought, wow, this is great. I'm just going to live like a king. But that all dried up about 2 years later. No, sorry, about 2 months later, and that was completely gone. So like if I just relied on that, then that I'd be having no income now. And I don't know, it's just an example of how things can grow and they can die very quickly. So YouTube could disappear tomorrow. It's very unlikely, but I mean, YouTube could like suddenly they could decide to delete my channel or whatever, and then you're not making any income from it anymore. So it's more important to have different ways that you can make money. Tax regarding YouTube revenue. So I'm currently self-employed in the UK. I run all of my tax as any other self-employed person would through UK tax right now. As that changes, I'm looking at getting that more as a company as things grow. But right now, it is just self-employed through the UK for the past couple of years. And yeah, I mean that's how I'm doing it. It's just taxed the same way as any other person with a self-employed income. Do you watch any other channels or speak to others to help you learn? If so, what channels would you recommend other than yours, of course, for learning to navigate making income online? Yeah, actually, I've been watching a bunch of these channels recently. You know a guy called Chris Winter? He's the money mentor. He's quite good. I chatted with him the other day on Zoom. We had a chat. He was talking to me about how he launched a channel similar to this a couple of years ago. And that sort of kind of inspired. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but he inspired me to do this. And I definitely go check him out because he's doing really well with it and giving some good tips on building a YouTube channel around more of like the building up a higher CPM side. So that's Money Mentor. Go and have a look. Or Chris Winter. He's got like 500K on his other YouTube channel, which was his main one, which he did camera and photography stuff. He's moved into more of a how to make money on YouTube. I'm quite enjoying. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Bia Heza. He does a bunch of Shopify and dropshipping stuff. He's growing quite quickly. Andre Cheek, he does more like investing stuff. So yeah, there's a few that I'm watching. I don't, I don't actually watch loads of YouTube, to be honest. I don't watch a lot of travel channels, and I don't watch loads of YouTube. Usually, I watch more series. And it's funny because a lot of YouTubers I speak to genuinely don't watch that much YouTube. But yeah, those are the guys that I'm into, and when I do watch YouTube, I'll go and watch them. And they've definitely got something to learn. And I'm preferring more to watch these guys that can really give value and give information on the time I spend watching them. I get proper value than watching other more entertainment channels right now. Okay, so I don't like jumping places. Yeah, I know Chris. We met in Thailand, I think the first time. Did Songkran together, which will actually be in the next video on the main channel. We did like the Songkran festival next year. So last year, sorry. So I'm gonna put it out. Okay, so can you guys let me know? I'm just checking something. Can you drop a comment below the video that's not just in the chat? Because I'm trying to just see the best way to. Are you able to do that? Are you able to do this giveaway? No, no, I can't at the moment. Okay, only in the live chat. Okay, so what we'll do instead is we'll just do everyone that's still here now and still watching. Just drop we're still here into the live, and then rather than on the comments below, so into the live chat, and then one of you guys, I'm just going to choose completely at randomly to get $100 Amazon voucher. So I figured that's the best way to do it, and like I wanted to do something to like commemorate the first time doing a live chat and the way this channel's starting or whatever. So like whoever's still here, put it in the side, and then I figured that'd be a good way to send it worldwide, wherever you are. Everyone has Amazon, and if you're from a country that for some reason you can't get an Amazon voucher, you can figure out something else. But just put it all there, and then I'll pick one at random. I'm gonna have to do like a random number generator to get it all in there to make sure it's at random, and then I can go through. I'll keep putting the "we're still here" if you're still here for the next couple minutes, and then I'll come and check it in a second. Ah, cool. I just seen my dad in there. I don't think you can win it. Sorry, Dad. Yeah, don't worry. I don't think I can. But, yeah, I'm also going to do something after this as well. So stick about just for one more second, because I'm going to go back and choose one of you. But first, I'm also going to do an additional little offer. And this is for anyone that does want to build a YouTube channel and build a passive income. Like I said at the beginning, I want to work with people that are genuinely interested in doing this over the long term. And I want to really answer the right questions and build a workshop and a program that actually answers the questions people want to know in order to be able to do this as a full-time travel content creator. So I'm going to drop a Google form in the chat now, and whoever does want to do that, then go and put your details in there, put one of your best pieces of content in there or your YouTube channel in there, and I'm going to be picking a few of you guys to join a private group completely for free, where we can have some weekly chats and come up with a strategy together to make your channel work after all of this. And also, I mean, also hopefully help me build a course that will help more people in the future as well. So I'm going to put it in there now, and just let me know if you can click that and you can get to it and it comes up fine. And then whoever's interested, like I said, won't charge anything for that. Just like go and check it out, and then we'll start working together. Okay, so if anyone is still here and hasn't put it in, then now is the time. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay. Okay, yeah, if the email's like that, just whack the email in twice. I'm not sure why that is. Okay, looks like there was about 30 replies. So I'm going to do a random number generator right now between 1 and 30. And it is number 10. So I'm going to go back and count through number 10. So give me 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I'm going to double check that before I say it. Right, I've got that as Daniel 4, right? I'm pretty sure he was the 10th person out of all you people to put still here, and pretty sure, I mean, like, read it one more time, just checking all of the comments, people that said still here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Daniel Saw, let me know, send me your details, and I will get a $100 Amazon voucher over to you. Because, yeah, why not? It's something we can actually order and do right now. I've been ordering a bunch off Amazon because, you know, I've got like a new microphone stand and everything. It's something that we can actually work with right now. Yeah, thanks, guys. And thanks for sending in those emails. I'm starting to get responses already. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then hopefully we can actually do this and build it out together. Let me know if there is anything else you'd like to know for the next stream. Drop it in the comments below. And I think, well, I mean, once you can, drop it in the comments below because I'm learning this as well. And I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. If it's about to be bedtime wherever you are, then you know, enjoy that. Or if you've got this nice sunny day here in England, so I'm going to go out for a bike ride and get out for a bit. Is it worth doing the Web4 if you're not looking to this full time, just alongside my current job? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, go for it. Because like it's not just about doing none of this. I put full time in there. It's not necessarily about doing it full time. It's about building a passive income that enables you to do whatever else you want to do. And of course, the idea of having a good passive income is being free to do what you want. So it doesn't have to be full time. It can just be on the side as well. So definitely put your details in there if you're interested. Thank you, all of you. I'm going to leave you there. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of the day. Cheers, guys.